Hey guys, Leslie here from the 7 Wayfinders. I'm gonna give you some tips on going to Japan. Japan was somewhere I didn't even want to go. If you watched any of our other Japan videos, I've probably said that. I said it to all of my friends many times. Japan was Chris's thing. It wasn't my thing. I didn't want to go, but guess what? We went and lived there for 2 months. We spent a month in Osaka and a month in Tokyo. And we have a bunch of videos you can watch on our really awesome experiences there, what it was like to live there with 5 kids and all of that. So make sure you're subscribing, make sure you're getting notifications on our videos, because guess what? They're coming out all the time. Now, maybe you're like Chris and you really want to go to Japan, or maybe you're like me and you're like, my husband wants to go to Japan, my partner wants to go to Japan, I don't know if I'm feeling it. Either way, these are some cool things that you should know before you go, and things that I would have liked to have known before I went. First of all, I could literally do an entire video just about the bathrooms of Japan. They are an experience all among themselves. And likely I am going to eventually do a video and a blog post on using bathrooms around the world, because I find it fascinating as a mother and as an individual that they're so different everywhere we go. However, in Japan, a few things you need to know. First of all, the Japanese people are extremely clean. Extremely clean. We'll touch on that about public trash cans in just a minute, but that definitely applies to their bathrooms. They're also very high tech. So bathrooms in Japan are very clean and very high tech. You can walk in and with a sensor, they start playing white noise. Or when you sit down, they start playing white noise. This was super common so that people aren't hearing your tinkling or your other noises in the bathroom. Second, it usually flushes itself. Sometimes you walk in and the seat comes up by itself, it flushes itself. They're way into bidets, just like the Europeans. Us Americans have no idea how to use them. That doesn't change in Japan because it's all in Japanese, so I can't speak to how that is because I never tried it. But there's about 15 controls just for your toilet. There can be whole remote controls for your toilet experience in Japan. However, things I liked is that it flushes itself, faucets are always no touch, and mostly just how clean they are. It's really a fascinating experience. Next, going out in public and cleanliness. Bathrooms in public are still super clean. You know, you can like hit a gas station in the United States and never want to go to a bathroom ever again in your life. That doesn't happen in Japan. Even in the middle of a public park, I would go to the bathroom and it was so clean. It was so clean all the time because they're just a super clean people in general, and they maintain it to be really clean. Even the tourist attractions have people manning the bathrooms all day long, so highly recommend that. The other big issue when you're out in public in Japan is there are no trash cans. I'm not kidding when I say that. They don't have public trash cans. Some tourist attractions who know that there's going to be a lot of tourists might put out a trash can. But if you're going to a park or if you're just taking a stroll down the streets, there literally are not trash cans. They pack their trash home. So they all bring out trash bags in their purse, in their backpack, in their stroller, whatever. And if they have trash while they're out and about, they're putting it in that bag and they're taking it home. The only reliable place I could ever find a trash can, because I was not as well prepared and sometimes I would have like a poopy diaper or something I was not gonna carry home. The only reliable place is in the female restroom, okay? And I mean in the stall. Not out where you think there's gonna be paper towels, because there aren't paper towels anyway, but not there, in this stall, okay? So that's another really important thing, especially if you're going with kids and you're bringing like your lunch, your picnic lunch to the park or something. Make sure you have a trash bag because you're gonna be taking it home unless you get really lucky. I guess you can always slip into like a Starbucks or McDonald's and throw it away, but that was just something that a lot of people told me about, and it was absolutely true. There just are not trash cans in public. Let's also talk about vending machines in Japan. I had no idea about this when we went. It was absolutely fascinating to me. First of all, there are drink vending machines everywhere. Everywhere. I'm not exaggerating. You can go on a hike and feel like you're in the middle of nowhere and there's a drink vending machine. I even had a follower tell me that exact story. She went on a hike and literally out of the middle of nowhere in this forest is a drink vending machine running on solar power. So that took a little bit to get used to. In the cities like Osaka and Tokyo, they're on every single street. sometimes more than once, every single block. We started playing a game of trying all the different varieties of drinks. Which peach drink do we like the most? Which water do we like the most? They all cost about $1 to $2 in the US, or 100 to 200 yen in Japan. So that's a kind of a fun game. They also have vending machines that literally will provide you an entire meal. We went to one of my favorite parks in Tokyo, and they have hot French fries, chicken nuggets, pizza, cup of soup noodles, coffee, hot chocolate. All of this comes out of the vending machine at the park, in addition to all the drinks that you can always get everywhere. So that's kind of a fun thing to know. And as a parent, I was like, man, all I have to bring is diapers. Everything else is there when I need it. On that note, you're probably going to be carrying around a lot of coins in Japan. They actually have a 500 yen coin, which is equivalent to basically $5 US, or was when we went to Japan. It's kind of funny because you think of it like a 50 cent. You spend that really fast. And then when you think about it, you're like, oh, wait a minute, that was $5. So be aware of that, okay? Because they do not have a $5 bill. They have a 500 yen coin. Okay, let's just talking about traveling there in English. Now, not all Japanese speak English. That's absolutely true. However, they are used to tourists and they are not offended by you having English most of the time. So English availability was not a problem. I was a little bit worried because Japan kind of shelters itself socially and culturally from a lot of other Asian countries. They want to keep it intact. They want to be different. They want to be separate. And a lot of Asian countries are way okay with English tourists. English tends to be the common language between Asia and Europe, in addition to Asia and the United States. So that serves in your benefit if you're an English speaker, because anyone from Europe who's going to Asia is probably going to be speaking English as well. Certainly no one in Asia is going to know Norwegian or Swedish or any of those. People who are coming from those countries are speaking English. Because of that, tourism is very much in English most of the world, if not all of the world. I have never been anywhere where tourism was predominated by another Western language other than English, okay? So don't worry about that. Even if they don't speak English, they a lot of the times have translation, or we have translation on our phone, and you can get it done just fine. While we're on the note of going out in Japan and seeing things, an important thing that we didn't expect is the time that restaurants or shops or tourist attractions actually close is not the last time that you can get it. So if you're going to a museum and it closes at 7, don't think that you can show up at 6:30 or 6:45 and get in, because what they actually do is they close all entrance about an hour before. This happens all over the place. And we, in our Western mindset, would say, oh, no problem, it closes at 7. We'll get there at 6:15, right? We couldn't even get in. This happened all the time, all the time. If it closes at 6, plan like it's closing at 5, because they're not gonna let anyone in after 5. They're not gonna serve any food after 5. They're just gonna be cleaning up, packing up, ready to go. Everything is shut and lights off at 6 o'clock, okay? So that's different than the United States. You're probably gonna hit some arcades, especially if you're going to Tokyo. It's huge. We have videos on the Sega building and some super fun old arcades that Chris found while he went to a capsule hotel with some of our boys. Know this, arcades in Japan are primarily geared towards adults. Not towards kids, not towards teenagers. We're talking grown businessmen are spending so much of their free time at these arcades. They're very serious about it. They spend hours and hours and hours there. So we showed up with our kids thinking this is like any arcade in the United States, and it's all businessmen. Some of the games are not child friendly. Some of the vending machines, because yes, there's tons of vending machines even at the arcade where you can use like the claw machine or whatever. The prizes are not necessarily child friendly either. So know that there are actually 2 Sega buildings. I ended up with Lincoln at the one that's a little more adultish than the other one. I was really surprised when I finally met up with Grant and Chris. Theirs was more child friendly, but there's still as many or way more adults than any kind of child or teenager there. Let's talk about food. We're gonna have a whole video on the food of Asia that we loved, and Japan will definitely be in there. But some of the things that are really popular to try in Japan are, of course, ramen, which was fantastic. I even was able to find gluten-free ramen. Gluten-free is not a big thing in Japan. They think that that's kind of weird for the most part, but I was able to find it. It was delicious, and the rest of the family loved the ramen, the regular ramen. Kobe beef is something you should probably try at least once, but know that it's horrendously expensive. It can be like $50 for a little tiny sampling of beef. Not kidding. They also have Kobe beef sashimi, which is raw Kobe beef, like a steak on top of rice. Octopus balls are very, very popular. They take like chopped up octopus and mix it with kind of like a pancake batter and fry those or cook them in a lot of butter. I tried one, even though I shouldn't because it's full of gluten. It was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. They usually put soy sauce all over it. So those are definitely something you wanna try. Pancakes and waffles, huge in Asia, which I didn't expect. And no difference in Japan. They love their pancakes. They love them. They're everywhere. They have restaurants dedicated to pancakes. They have these big fluffy pancakes full of whipped cream, and they're really good. Let's talk about using Wi-Fi and your cell phone in Japan. I loved being in Japan because all of a sudden my cell phone was fast as or faster than our Wi-Fi. Our data on our cell phone was lightning speed. I could do all my work on my cell phone if I wanted to. Our travel around the world in general means that our phones are almost useless when it comes to data. So this was a huge difference, especially in Asia. Our data has been a little bit better here in Europe, but in Asia it was awful. If we tried to pull up any kind of map or any kind of anything on our cell phone data, forget about it. That was not the case in Japan. It was lightning fast. We're with Sprint. I assume it's all the same for everyone because they actually run all of their Wi-Fi through their cell network as well. You get these little, they call them pocket Wi-Fis. They're just a portable router, and that's how they do Wi-Fi there. So when we show up to an Airbnb, all the Airbnbs I looked at, they talk about their pocket Wi-Fi. That's the only Wi-Fi. There is no router to plug into. That was kind of hard for Chris. We had to ask for like stronger pocket Wi-Fis because they vary in how much data they're pulling down. I will say we did see a router in our Tokyo Airbnb. However, they're from the United States. So that's probably why they had it. For the most part, I never ever saw anything but these pocket Wi-Fis. So they're pulling from the cell network as well. Hence why your cell phone is so fast, and they have just built it to be incredible. So that's kind of a fun surprise. As far as kids go in Japan, they actually really love kids there. They have more than one. Coming from China, I kind of expect that to be the same. It's not. It was actually very common to see people with 3 kids. They love to ride bicycles, especially in Osaka, and you'll see these decked out bikes with kid seats and kid covers, and it can be incredible. They also are very, very friendly to pregnant and new moms. I saw nursing rooms everywhere, diaper changing stations that would do a double take. They're so nice. The malls have these huge rooms for babies and mothers. They have little seats in most of the women's bathrooms, so you can take your little boy or your little girl in with you to use the bathroom. They have like these mini urinals. So anyway, they really love kids. It's quite child friendly. Taking 5 American kids there was another challenge in and of itself because we're way too loud and we're way too big. But they love kids. They also keep them extremely clean and extremely quiet, and I could learn a lot from their skills. This is something that's true of not only in Japan, but something that's worth pointing out. When you go to the train station or the metro station, which works amazingly in Japan, you're gonna see these white lines, kind of bumpy lines, or yellow lines that kind of do this like maze across the floor. My kids thought it was just a maze for them to follow, but what they're actually there for is for blind people to lead them to the right space to get onto the train or to lead them to the escalator. So that's kind of good to know. Let's talk about mosquitoes. We went in the dead of summer. June and July is when we were in Japan. That is when most people leave. Especially expats. They're gonna leave and they're gonna go back to the United States or wherever they're from because it's kind of a miserable time to go. We were in Tokyo in July and it's extremely rainy. It also has tons of mosquitoes, which I never would have expected. We would go up to the park and just get plastered with mosquito bites. Poor little Grace, the first time I took her, I put mosquito repellent on her, but not on her face. And she came back with like 15 bites on her face. Very intense mosquitoes. So a lot of the parks, any park you go to, you need to have mosquito repellents. If it's like a park you pay to get into, because we did find that, you pay like $1 or $2 to go in, they will even provide mosquito repellent for you. By the way, the parks of Japan are phenomenal. Another wonderful thing to do if you're taking kids to Japan. They're everywhere. Some of them are really big and you pay to get in. Some are kind of small neighborhood ones, but they are fantastic. They're the most fun slides we've ever been on. I could have just spent every day at the park in Japan and been a happy camper. My kids loved it. Another fun thing to know about Japan, if you're a lady or if you like to paint your nails, is they're way into nail art in Japan. I saw the most amazing nail art there. I also had my nails done twice, and they use a whole nother level of product there. When I went back to the United States for a week just to go to some classes, I tried to get a manicure done and they couldn't even get the Japanese gel off my fingernails. They were actually really upset that I had it at all, but it lasted forever. And the nail art was something I've never seen anywhere else in all of our travels. I loved it. So if you're going, I highly recommend you get your nails done. I had no problem finding English speaking salons. Just search for that in Google. They're gonna have a website up and they're gonna know that you speak English, and that's gonna be just fine. And it can be expensive, but it can also be really affordable compared to US pricing. I hope some of this helps you. I hope you enjoy your time in Japan. If you go, I ended up really liking it. I would 100% go back. I kind of miss it even a little bit. Really love the people. They're not overtly friendly. They're not rude. In fact, they're incredibly polite. But once you get to know them, they're also super warm, and it is just a very unique and special place that we hold near and dear to our heart. So I hope this helps if you're planning a trip or if you're heading there anytime soon. We hope you follow us around in our other adventures around the world and enjoy those travels. We'll see you later.